Welcome to the On Purpose Investor. My name is Eric, and this show is where intentionality meets investing in yourself and your finances.
And I'm Josh, and together we'll explore the strategies, insights, and stories combined with inspiration and motivation to help you live with purpose and make an impact.
Now, whether you're a seasoned investor or just getting started, join us each week as we dive deep into the world of intentional investing. Welcome back to the On Purpose Investor podcast, and a little throwback for you. I'm your host, Eric.
And I am Josh. So excited to see all you guys here today, and we've had an exciting week this week.
We did. We had an amazing first DealMaker Meetup, DealMaker Atlanta. For all you folks that were at DealMaker Atlanta Meetup at the Lion Creek Reserve here in Newnan, Georgia, thanks for joining us. Man, what a great time that was.
Yeah, look, anytime you get to talk about real estate, hang out with amazing people, have a beverage with a friend, that's a good weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a blast. I met a lot of new people that I did not know before, which was just really good. And for those of you out there, if you ever want to come to a meeting, if you go to DealMaker Atlanta, we meet once a month. Even if you're not from Georgia, you could fly in and come to our DealMaker meeting. Yep. We'd love to have you. It's a great time. Come meet us personally, and we love meeting folks.
Absolutely. Yeah, DealMakerAtlanta.com. Head over there. There's a full schedule for the rest of 2024. You can arrange a time to come and hang out with us and join us for a drink and some real estate education.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the two topics that we talked about were networking and really the mindset, overcoming obstacles and things like that. But let's just talk a little bit about networking, the power of networking, especially for people who may be listening that either have done 0 to 3 deals, or maybe some people who feel stuck because they've done 10 or 15 deals or 20 deals, but now they're trying to get to that next level. And I think that network is just a huge, important part of that, because as people say, your net worth is your network. So what are your thoughts on networking? Talk to me a little bit about that from your perspective.
Yeah, so just to summarize what we did at the meeting, if you weren't there, we did basically a speed dating.
Yes.
For networking. This is an exercise.
Do you like me? Check yes or no. I'm just kidding. That's not what it was.
Oh, I wrote that on my card. Will you buy me a drink? Yes or no? You know what we did? I got this from Tom Olson, a great mentor and friend of mine. It's called the Queen Bee. And I know that Tom didn't come up with it, but we did this at DealMaker in Richmond this past March. And basically, we just sat around the table and everyone filled out some cards with their contact information on it. And then one person would get up and go help the bee, the queen bee. They would be their worker bee, and they'd travel around and find everyone that can help the queen bee solve their problem. And so the queen bee would state their problem. I need money, or I need deals, or I'm a wholesaler and I need buyers, or I have this type of skill and I'm looking to employ it with anyone that might need it. So the worker bee would go out and find ways to connect the queen with the people that could solve their problems. And it's like this forced networking. The queen actually never got to meet the people that are going to help them. So there's a huge action step that comes right after this event. That is texting or calling each one of those people that you got a contact card for. Some of our people ended up with 15 cards.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was awesome.
And I know that's probably a lot of work to go text 15 different people and save their number and all that, but I promise you, if you follow up, if you're consistent in the follow-up, you're going to find a lot of progress and a lot of success in what you're trying to do. So the power of networking is huge. Because right now, if you were just getting into real estate investing, or you're just thinking about real estate investing, you are on this tiny island of you. And this tiny island of you seems so desolate and so distanced from other islands and other pieces of main land. But the fact is that the main land is not as far away as you think it is.
That's right.
It's just you think you're on this little island of crippling fears and disbelief of what success could be for you. All you got to do is start going to some of these networking events, start listening to some of these podcasts and reaching out and start connecting and immersing yourself in this community. You'll find that your little island is actually like on, oh my gosh, I'm throwing it back here, early Grand Theft Auto, like Grand Theft Auto 3.
Wow, Grand Theft Auto 3. I did not see that one coming.
Well, when you first start the game, all you can see on the map is where you have been. There's so much more map out there, but it won't show up on your map until you go there. And so what happens is you start exploring and the map starts filling in as you travel around. And what you do in Grand Theft Auto, you know, it's probably not rated for this show. But,
Yes.
you know, But it's a really decent example of you don't know the land that there is to discover until you go.
Yeah.
And soon your map will just be slap full of places to go because you dared to adventure.
That's it. And I love that you used the word dare to adventure. You know, what I saw across the room is there was a brief sense of awkwardness. Everybody's writing down the stuff they need.
Especially your son, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh yes, yes. Like, it was crazy. They're writing down the stuff that they need, but really and truthfully, when you're networking, when you're first getting started, and I'm speaking this again as somebody who's really just a couple years in, I remember coming up with a list of things that I really needed. And for me, Eric, it was money. Like, I used banks for a little bit, but I knew that the next step is I'm going to need to partner with some financial friends and really work with some folks. And I just remember thinking, there's no one in the world that's going to give me money. Like, how do you do that? And I remember the time came, I got to my next house and I'm like, okay. And we talk all the time about you have to be coachable. So I call you and go, Eric, I've got this problem. And you're like, this is what you're going to do. And you gave me a couple of phone numbers of some individuals to call. And I remember looking at you. We were literally, I think
we were sitting in my pool.
I was about to say,
we were sitting in my
pool.
pool.
In your pool, and you're
at
like,
Swimria last summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're going to call this person and you're going to talk to him. And I remember literally my self-talk in my mind was, I'm going to call this person who I have met a couple times, but I don't know him on a personal level. He doesn't know me on a personal level. And I'm going to ask him for money. Like, how is this going to go? Really and truthfully, we talk about journaling so much. I realize now that what my real self-talk is I am not worthy enough to talk to somebody about this question. But skipping back to networking, then I pick up the phone call and call this person. And what's interesting is now, sitting a couple years later, I realize that I provide a service. There are people whose business is to lend money and pay interest. My business is to borrow money. And like we always say, not just pay back with interest, pay early, pay great. My people get paid before banks, bills. I will eat beans and rice.
Yep.
But those guys get paid first. But networking, like, I have been able to 10x my purchasing of properties because I quit using banks and because I'm helping other people build their business by borrowing money, and all from the power of networking. And I saw it play out in the meeting because people felt so awkward. And then that moment came where they got the phone numbers back and they realized that, wait, this problem that I have, there are 20 other people out here that not only have the ability to solve this problem, that their business might be solving this problem.
Exactly. And I just love that right after the meeting and we got into networking, I saw a couple of folks pick up their phones and start texting. You heard all these phones going off, ding, ding. And then they would just go meet up and have a beer together. And oh my goodness, the power to just have your problem stated.
Yes.
And then be connected with the person that can solve your problem. And then sitting in a very non-threatening environment where you're not begging for anything. And you're just talking about your situation. You're talking about your journey. And the person that you're talking to has everything you need. And it was so magical. It was so amazing. And I just felt like we delivered. What these people needed. And sure, there are probably people there at the meeting that didn't really come to have anything fixed or solved or anything to accomplish because they're probably enders and they're done working and they just came to support us. But even they, I feel, got something huge out of seeing these people network.
Yeah, I agree. And for the enders out there, and for those of you, if you're not sure what the term means, there's phases of real estate. There's the beginners, maybe 0 to 1 or 2 deals, the wealth builders. Those are the people that are buying more properties or participating in real estate actively. The sustainers are the ones that have their portfolio. They're not buying, they're not selling, but they're going through the art. Sustaining makes it sound like it's inactive. It's very active to sustain.
Yeah, it's active.
And then you have enders who are they're at the end. And so they're now thinking about estate planning or what their next phase is after that. And I'll say those enders, I love those guys and those ladies because they really, the stories that they share. Man. I wanted to put on my networking card for some of the enders and walk over and go, hey, can I just buy you coffee in here and give you a problem and you tell me about the 20 or 30 times in your career that you solved that problem?
Yeah.
Like, for me, that would be totally worth it and totally amazing.
Yeah. No doubt.
Ken, to get to some practical steps in today's show about networking, here's something that I've learned that I try to do, and my friend Jeff Richmond, who's one of my mentors in our brokerage, for those of you who don't know, I'm a licensed realtor here in the state of Georgia with eXp Realty. My wife and I are a JRB Dream Team, And one of the things that our mentor teaches us, he says that when you network, you want to be very clear. And so what you do is the first step is anytime I go into a real estate meetup or anything where I'm networking, I have wrote down on paper the 3 things that I need, or the 3 reasons I came to that meeting, or the 3 problems I'm coming to solve. That way, when I am networking, I can be clear of what I need. I go one step further though, and if I write down 3 things that I need, I write down 6 things that I'm coming to that meeting that I can give.
Yep.
Because my goal is that we talk about, again, being an on-purpose investor, someone that lives their life on purpose. I always want to give more than I receive.
Yep.
And if you're out there and you're just getting started in your real estate game, you have things that you can give. I can cut grass. I can give somebody, as a real estate agent, I can do a market report for free. If you need to know the value of your house today, I don't even have to represent you. You're an investor. Can I just give this to you? And you can use your other real estate agent, but I can give you some, I have something of value that I can give. We like to write down 5 or 6 things that you can do for someone else. And that is how you can practically, if you want to get started with networking, figure out the exact problem that you need solved, and also know what are the ways that you can solve somebody else's problem.
Oh, exactly. That takes us back to the last episode, help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. But also I want to bring up another quote of, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Say it again, Eric. Say it again.
You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, if you've got 5 children and a wife or a husband, you probably spend a lot of time with them. And I'm not going to say you're the average of all of that, because if I'm the average of my chaos in this house, oh my Lord.
I was thinking that about my house.
My son woke up this morning and just wanted to wear his fireman costume. And I said, buddy, it's going to get hot today. It's okay. I'll jump in the pool. What? In your fireman costume? He said, yes, I'll put on my floaties and I'll be fine. I'm like, buddy. Yeah, so if I'm the average of that, I'm saying you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with in what you're trying to do. So if you are, like I was, a teacher, and you're trying to be a real estate investor like I was, and you share all of your stuff you're going through with your fellow teachers, what you're going to hear is what I heard almost every single day, which is, you're crazy. What are you going to do when they stop paying rent? What are you going to do when they break the toilet? What are you going to do when they destroy your house? What are you going to do when whatever story they tell themselves about real estate investing, whatever they find that truth, they're going to share that with you and try to bring you down from the ledge you're about to jump off of. The thing is, I wrote an article probably 4 or 5 years ago on just that. It's called White Noise, and the white noise surrounding real estate investing. The thing is, you'll never get out of the white noise until you tune in the receiver. If you're old school, you remember growing up with the single or double antenna poles and wrapping them with tin foil and then just barely turning the knob, trying to get it in there. You know, I was trying to watch Channel 17, watch the Braves back in the early 90s when they were on their big thing. And the thing is, you'll never clear up the frequency until you go start fine-tuning. Now, the white noise, that's how you get the white noise out. You start fine-tuning. And what are you fine-tuning is what you're surrounding yourself with, who you're surrounding yourself with. And so if your network right now are people that are telling you're crazy, it won't work, they had a buddy, an uncle, a brother, a father, someone that failed in real estate investing, and so you will too.
Yep.
If that's what you're surrounding yourself with, I promise you, the stories you tell yourself and other people tell you, if you hear it enough, it is true. And Henry Ford, I believe, said, whether you think you can or you cannot, you're right. And that is the truth behind all of it. So how do you get out of the white noise? How do you get into the next version of yourself? You start surrounding yourself with people that are living, investing, breathing, doing the things that you want to do. Many steps above you. My circle, my 5 people that I try to spend the most time with in my networking circle, they are people that are multi-millionaires. People that I'm so inspired by them because they are so successful, but even more so, more importantly, they are great husbands. They are great fathers. They are dedicated to giving. They are trying to build just this amazing impact on the world. So I don't care if they're worth $2 million because that's not crazy above where I'm at. But if they are showing up in their family and their faith and in their life the way that I want to, that I'm not right now, I'm gonna bring them into my circle.
Yeah, you're dovetailing into the second part of the meeting that we discussed, because we talked about networking, but the next thing that we really honed in on was limiting beliefs. And it's interesting because you're touching on something now, limiting beliefs that we all have as investors. By the way, we all have as fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, friends, people of faith. We all have limiting beliefs in literally every faction of our life. But one of the key aspects of getting rid of limiting beliefs is really who you associate with. And I love that you're mentioning that, because over the last couple of years, I've never abandoned any friends that I have. I love all of my friends from all walks or all stages of my life, but I've tried to start adding new people to my circle, but I'm adding people that always encourage me to believe that I can.
Yes.
And in fact, one of the things that I have noticed about my previous, and this is not 100% for my friends that are listening, but I have had people, the majority of folks in there were often the ones that I can't, or that level of success isn't for me, or our family, Josh, you're this part. This being a millionaire is not for you because our family. And here's the one that is a really limiting belief I've discovered. Money is bad. It's the root of all evil. Never mind the fact that imagine how much charity and how many lives you can save, how many single mothers that you can help have a better life, how many kids can find their identity and faith that you could do if you had money. But somehow money, the Bible says the love of money. And as I always say, I'm all about time. Anyways, that's a separate thing. But who you hang out with. I would just encourage you, if you're listening today, take the time to write down the 5 or 10 people, not just that you hang out with, but for each one of those people, what are the 3 things that they tell you the most about yourself? Do they help you believe that you can? And more importantly, when you spend time with them, do you believe that you will?
Yeah. No, that is a mic drop moment. I would drop this, but it'd probably make a really weird sound. I don't think there's enough editing to fix that. What I will say is, in that overcoming limiting beliefs, what we did was at this meeting we just finished up, we went into talking about what's holding you back from taking massive action. And most of the time, what's holding people back is their fear of either the unknown or what they feel to be inevitable. And so what I told them was, I'm going to give you a daily reminder that you are getting in your way.
I love this.
And so we sat down and we talked about what are some things that you've always wanted to do. Just think them in your head, write them down however much. Think about all the things that you've wanted to do, but you haven't done them yet. Think about the things that you want to accomplish, but you haven't accomplished them yet. It can be as small as mowing the yard. It can be as large as starting a business. But anything from mowing the yard to starting a business, anywhere in between, write down a couple of things that you just haven't gotten around to yet. And so we all listed them out. And I asked around the room, why haven't you done them? I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough money, or my job prevents me from doing that. Listen, you prioritize the things in your life. You always do. If, unfortunately, and hope it doesn't happen to anyone out there listening or anyone, out there in general, but if your pet, your animal were to pass away, or your spouse were to pass away, you're going to stop everything. Your whole world's going to change. Your whole world's going to shift, because that is the nature of that event. And there's no way you're going to tell your boss, hey, yeah, you know what? I'll be in tomorrow. There's no way you're going to tell the people in your friend circle, hey, you know what? There's no way I'm missing poker night. I'll be there tonight. There's no way you're going to tell them that you're not coming. You prioritize things in your life for the nature in which they surface. I was like, why are you not accomplishing these tasks? What is preventing you? And usually it's some speed bump that they have identified in their life that they feel like they cannot fix and they cannot get over.
Yep.
And so I said, how many of you have looked at that on your paper or in your mind and said, you know what? I'll get around to it.
That's right.
I'm going to get around to it.
I'm going to get around to it.
I'm going to get around to listening to that podcast. I'm going to get around to reading that book. I'm going to get around to mowing the grass. I'm going to finally get around to booking that vacation for my family. I'm finally going to get around to it, but not yet. Not today. So I said, what if I could absolutely give you the debunker and the solution to getting around to it right now in this moment? And a couple people knew where I was going with it, but there were some puzzled faces. And if you're watching on video, my dog is in the background. But there was a couple puzzled faces, and I said, I would like for everyone to reach in that envelope on the table and open it. I know I've been telling you all night not to open that, but open it right now and hold it in your hand. And what you see now is the answer to all your problems. And they open up their envelope and they look at it, it's a little coin. And it just says TUIT. To it.
Around to it.
And I said, anytime now that you come to one of these issues, you're going to prioritize getting it done because you have no more excuses. You now have your round to it. So you're no longer allowed to say, you know what, I'm going to get around to it, but not today. Thing is, you already have a round to it. You already have a round to it. You have no more excuses to start taking action. Even if that action is bad, massive, imperfect action is what we're trying to achieve. Because even if you do something 50% decently, the fact is you still did it. And you probably learned a lesson along the way.
That's it. Imagine what we could get accomplished if we just got around to it. Or in your case, if you attended our meeting, you got a round to it. So imagine what you could get accomplished. It reminds me of a concept that I learned about called the power of yet. What if you took all the things that are holding you back, all your limiting beliefs, or the things you haven't gotten around to it yet, and simply inserted the word yet? For example, here's what that would look like. I am not a multimillionaire yet. Maybe you feel like you've been failing as a father. I am not a great father yet, but I'm going to start today. I do not own 50 houses yet, but I'm going to buy my next one this month. They're all the things that we want to accomplish in life. I have not donated them, and this is something that I want to do one day. I'm on a goal where I'm at now. I want to have a one singular year where I donate $100,000 to a charity that my wife and I are very passionate about. I haven't done that yet, but I haven't done it yet. You know, I'm going to, and I'm taking steps today to get to it. I call that the power of yet. What if today, we've talked a lot about journaling, you write down maybe your top 5 limiting beliefs or the top 5 things that people in your life tell you that you can't do. Number 1, change your circle of influence. But number 2, would you go write down the word yet? And just realize that, okay, you haven't done it yet, but you can, you will. And if you're out there listening to us today, if no one else is telling you and you're just now getting started in your circle, what I really want you to hear, and I hope you'll keep coming to the show, is On Purpose Investor or DealMaker Atlanta. What all of this about, let Eric and I be your network. And if no one else is telling you, then I'm telling you today, you can and you will. You just got to get around to it, but you will. And I personally believe in you.
Yeah, I 1000% believe in anyone that believes in themselves. And that's one of those things of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And there have been so many relationships in my life, whether it be family or friends or professional, where you want to see them succeed. You want to see them get out of either a vice, or you want to see them get out of a situation, or you want to see them elevate their status in their position, whatever that is. And you really want to pour into them, how to help them. If they just did this one thing, they would achieve such more greatness. And the thing is, you have to understand that you can't change the lives of others, and I can't change the lives of you.
That's right.
I cannot help you if you are not willing to accept that, A, you need help, and B, that you're willing to accept what I have to say. Now, I have had several students that I've coached, and some of them I've heard what I've had to say and been very receptive of it, but did not take action. And they are still exactly where they were 3 years ago when I started coaching them. My words are not going to change your life. My coaching program is not going to change your life unless you want your life to be changed.
Yep.
And that's just one of those things that I just want to reharp on the fact that you have to remain coachable no matter what position you are in your life. And no matter how successful you think you might be, you still have much to learn. And maybe everything about syndications, but maybe you need help in another area of your life. We all have room to grow.
Yep. You have to start with yet, and then you move to I will. Then you have to move to I'm now doing, and then you eventually get to I did.
Yep.
And I can tell you as a realtor, my wife and I, because we're investors, we work with a lot of clients who are we work with a lot of clients who are successful investors, but we've had a lot of clients in the last few months that are aspiring. They haven't bought their first one yet, but they want to. And when you find that property and they get to that one point, and now here we are. It's time. We've equipped them. We've empowered them. We found the deal. Here it is. I don't have here's the phone call. Just like you told me that one time. Here's the phone call. It was the most nerve-wracking phone call I ever made, was to call this person, who, by the way, was an amazing individual and has taught me so much about real estate investing. Forget the money. The person has changed my career because I've learned from him.
Yeah.
Story for another day. But I say that to say there is a part where you have to take action. And action can be scary. And maybe we'll do a future episode on that process of taking that first action or your 50th action. But I will simply say out there, you've got to have the power of the yet. And at some point, you have to believe that you will. And then you have to go do. And going do. I don't know.
Don't do.
Don't do.
Unless you're on the potty.
But
there we go. I say potty because I'm a father of a 3 and a 1-year-old. Anyways,
look, I got a 1-year-old too, so I get it. It's scary, but you can do it.
That's right.
And just remember, you haven't done it yet, but you can and you will.
Absolutely. Y'all, it's been a great episode. Before we sign off, and I let Josh, I'm going to
try. I'm going to do it better today.
Murder Tiffany's line there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our July 25th DealMaker Atlanta meetup. I hope that you will join us there.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
If you're not able to join us in person, I would love for you to join DealMaker Atlanta VIP. If you're in California or Alaska or somewhere you cannot come to our DealMaker meetups in person, you can absolutely still access every recording of each event that we do. But at the July 25th meetup, we have a great friend of mine from Middle Georgia. His name's Chris Peischer, and he is going to be delivering some great information about automation in the landlording side of your business. He's going to show you how you can implement a few quick little actions on different softwares and different things like that to fully automate your business.
I'm excited about this. I talk about time. I don't have to work harder. I can work smarter. And I'm really excited because it sounds like that's a lot about what we're going to talk about at the next meeting. It's really some tools to help us work so much more efficiently. Oh, absolutely. And if you want to learn a little bit about Chris before the meetup, head over to the automatedlandlord.com, or you can go look Chris up online, Automated Landlord. And he is a giver. He is a faithful man. Like, he's full of faith. And he's all about helping those that want to help themselves. So please look up Chris Peischer. The link is going to be in the show notes to his website and to his Facebook. I think he might have Instagram too. I'm not sure. But the Automated Landlord, Chris Peischer, is going to be joining us in Atlanta here at the Line Creek Reserve in Noonan, July 25th, 6 o'clock. Yeah, it's going to be great. Look forward to meeting all of you and talking with all of you. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic. And we also have a Facebook group, DealMaker Atlanta Facebook group. If you'll search that, we'd love for you to join if you haven't done so already. Like I said, if you're in Georgia, it's epic. But even if you're anywhere in the country or the world, if you just want to spend time and hang out with folks that are in real estate, but also just highly motivated, great people, then it is a great place to be. I get a lot of inspiration just for life. Out of there, and I love hanging out that. Shout out to Jim Ingersoll, who we have not done a shout out to yet. Yeah, absolutely. Great man who started the DealMaker idea and started it out there in Richmond, Virginia. And we are just so blessed to be a part of that community. Yeah, that's great. So, are you ready for me to tie it up? I think we're ready, y'all. Here is Josh. All right, here we go. So, thank you for joining us today on the On Purpose Investor. Remember, you only get one life, so live it purposefully. He did it. He did it. He did it. We'll see you next week. If you love what you heard today, it would mean the world to us if you would take a moment to rate, review, and share this podcast with someone that you believe would benefit too. Sharing is the best way for us to grow and to develop a community to join you on your intentional investing journey. In the meantime, come hang out with us on social media at On Purpose Investor, or sign up for our next course, newsletter, or meetup at onpurposeinvestor.com. But most importantly, go out, live your life, and do it on purpose.